The first thing that registered was the cold. A draft on the back of my neck where there should have been warmth. Then the scent, acrid, like burnt metal. My hand floated up, searching for the familiar curtain of my dark hair, and found nothing. Just bristly, ragged ends. My stomach plunged. I scrambled from the sheets, legs tangled, and lurched toward the full-length mirror. I didn't recognize the person staring back. My hair, my beautiful hip-length hair, was gone. In its place was a mangled mess, chopped and hacked as if by a blind person with garden shears. Wisps of it lay on my pillow like fallen soldiers. Panic clawed at my throat. This wasn't a nightmare. This was real. My eyes darted around the room. Everything was in its place, except for the silver scissors on my nightstand, the ones my father used to snip loose threads from his suits, and on top of them, a cheerful pink sticky note. Didn't want you to overshadow the bride. You still look lovely. Be ready for the brunch. Dad. P.S. Make sure you post about the wedding. Use the hashtag Taylor ties the knot. The world tilted. This wasn't just a haircut. It was a desecration. A message written on my own body. You are not important. Hanging pristine in my closet was a deep emerald gown, the first thing I'd ever bought with money I'd earned myself. It was my quiet rebellion, a statement that I was more than the afterthought, the shadow sister, that I deserved to feel beautiful. Now, I looked like a warning. I walked into the living room on numb legs. My mother was arranging flowers on the coffee table, humming. She glanced up, her eyes flicking over my head, and offered a tight, plastic smile. Oh, good. You're awake. Doesn't that feel so much lighter? My father didn't even look up from his newspaper. It's Taylor's Day, honey. Let's keep the focus where it belongs. Keep the focus. As if my very existence was a spotlight they had to wrestle away. And then, the final piece clicked into place. The special sleepy time tea my mum had insisted I drink last night. The NyQuil haze I woke up from. This wasn't neglect. This was a strategy. They had drugged their own daughter and disfigured me in my sleep because they were afraid I might shine too brightly at my sister's wedding. Taylor was the sun in their universe. She got the European tours, the private tutors, the designer wardrobe. I got hand-me-downs and lectures on being less sensitive. I'd put myself through school, moved out the first chance I got, but I came back for this wedding, clinging to a stupid hope that this time, they'd see me. How naive I'd been. I stood there, hollowed out, not just by the humiliation, but by the cold, hard finality of it. I was done. Done being their footnote. Done being the supporting act in my own life. They'd used scissors to try and erase me. I was about to use a microphone to rewrite their entire history. I didn't weep. I didn't yell. I turned on my heel, went back to my room, and called Jenna. She picked up instantly. Hey, you sound weird. Everything okay? They drugged me. They cut off all my hair while I was sleeping. A beat of stunned silence. Then, a low, dangerous hiss. I'm on my way. Jenna arrived in 15 minutes, a storm cloud in sweatpants. She took one look at me and her face hardened. She didn't offer pity or platitudes. She said the only thing that mattered. This was premeditated. I just nodded. A single, sharp dip of my chin. Jenna steered me into the kitchen. Right. War plan. First, talk. She hit record on her phone. I told her everything. The sticky note, the hashtag, the dress, the years of being wallpaper in my own family, and the voice memos, the little clips I'd recorded for myself after particularly cruel conversations, just to prove I wasn't crazy. Jenna's eyes glittered. You have evidence? I found them. Dad telling me that a pretty maid of honor is a distraction. Mum worrying I would pull focus. They weren't just comments. They were motives. Jenna smiled, a slow, sharp, terrifying smile. You don't want revenge, do you? No, I said. I want accountability. Even better, she replied. That lasts longer. That evening was a blur of transformation. Jenna, with a surprisingly steady hand, took the scissors to my ruined hair and sculpted it into a sharp, audacious pixie cut. Not a repair. A rebirth? You look like you're about to burn down an empire, she said, dusting off my shoulders. She was right. I didn't go to bed. I stayed up, poring over the toast my parents had emailed me, a saccharine tribute to sisterly love I was meant to read. I deleted it. Then I wrote my own. By sunrise, I was no longer their victim. I was their reckoning. The rehearsal brunch was at a sprawling, sun-drenched estate. It was a caricature of perfection, monogrammed everything, a string quartet, champagne flowing like water. A perfect stage for a perfect lie. I got there before anyone else, not to be helpful, to be present, A quiet, unignorable fact. Taylor eventually swept in, a vision in bridal white, laughing her perfectly practiced laugh, soaking up the adoration. She didn't even see me. When the toasts began, I didn't wait to be called. I walked straight to the microphone, my new haircut feeling like a helmet. I could feel my parents' eyes on me. Taylor's laugh died in her throat. I cleared my throat. Good morning. Most of you know me as Taylor's sister. The quiet one. The other one. I'm here today to finally live up to the role my family has always given me, the one who tells the truth. A confused murmur rippled through the guests. We love to curate our lives for pictures, don't we? Perfect smiles, perfect families, but some things don't fit in the frame. Things like being drugged with cough syrup in your tea so your parents can shear off your hair in your sleep. Audible gasps. They did it because they were afraid I would be too much, that I might, for a single day, pull focus from their prized daughter. They wanted me to be small. They wanted me to be invisible. My mother shot to her feet. That is enough. I looked her dead in the eye. No, you don't get to tell me what's enough ever again. I held up my phone and pressed play. First, my father's voice, smug and low, asterisk, she won't pull focus now. A little trim will remind her of her place. Then my mother's, asterisk, it's for the best. We can't have her looking better than the bride. The silence that followed was absolute. Crushing. Taylor's face was a mask of chalky horror. My father's face was a thundercloud. My mother looked like she'd been struck. I leaned into the mic. You wanted me to be a lesson in humility. Instead, I'll be your lesson in consequences. I wasn't escorted out for making a scene. I was escorted out because my parents started shrieking at the staff. That was just the overture. Jenna uploaded the clip that night. It was expertly edited. My speech, the shocked faces, my parents' meltdown, and the audio recording subtitled in bold white letters. The title was simple. My family tried to break me for a wedding. They failed. It didn't just go viral. It detonated. 1 million views became 10 million. My inbox was a flood of messages from people all over the world. Your story is my story. Thank you for giving me a voice. I just stood up to my mother for the first time. The media descended. Think pieces were written about aesthetic violence and the scapegoat daughter syndrome. My speech was being reenacted on TikTok. And Taylor? She sent one text. I can't believe you ruined my life for internet fame. I blocked her number. She still didn't understand. This wasn't about fame. It was about breathing again. A week later, an editor from a major online magazine called rehearsal. Your story isn't just a moment, she said. It's a movement. We want to do a feature. The sister who refused to be silent. The photo shoot was cathartic. They dressed me in leather and silk, in bold, unapologetic colors. In every shot, my eyes were level with the camera. My hair, once a symbol of my violation, was now my crown. I wasn't their cautionary tale. I was my own legend. Then came the email that changed everything. The sender was the CEO of a brand called Reverb, a company famous for its fierce feminist forward marketing. Subject: we heard you. Body: your voice is more than a soundbite. It's a frequency. We want to help you amplify it. Let's talk. My hands were shaking as I dialed. The CEO, a woman with a voice like velvet and steel, picked up. We don't just sell clothes, she said. We sell courage. You didn't just get even, you got powerful. That's our brand. She wanted me to be the face of their new campaign. Hear me now. It wouldn't just be my story. She wanted me to spearhead a platform for others who had been silenced, edited, and erased. It was about turning personal pain into collective power. Within days, I was in their Los Angeles studio. They didn't pose me, they unleashed me. The camera loved the fire in my eyes. During one shot, the photographer had me shout, and the image of my open-mouthed, defiant cry became the campaign's centerpiece. Meanwhile, my family's perfect world was crumbling. Their country club membership was under review. Friends crossed the street to avoid them. Taylor's new in-laws were appalled. Then Jenna sent me a screenshot. Taylor, using a fake account, had been leaving comments on the video. She was always a narcissistic drama queen. This is what happens when you don't raise your kids right. Some people just need to be humbled. She hadn't just been a bystander. She'd been a co-conspirator. So, Jenna said, holding up the phone, the wedding's officially off, by the way. Groom's family pulled out. I felt nothing. Good, the reception was getting boring anyway. The Reverb campaign launched and became a phenomenon. I was on morning shows, podcasts, and panels, not as a victim, but as an advocate. Why did you speak out? They all asked. Because my silence was costing me more than their approval ever could, I'd say. One day, the CEO of Reverb found me after a talk. We're expanding, she said, and we want to open a new creative hub in your hometown. We want you to run it. My breath hitched. Go back there? She smiled. It's not going back. It's taking over. Your voice is your armor, remember? I said yes. We leased a huge glass-fronted building on the main street, just down the block from the florist where my mother had been humming over her arrangements. Across the main window, in huge, stark letters, we put the campaign slogan, "Hear me now." The opening was a media event. Locals who used to ignore me now wanted selfies. Young girls came up to me, their eyes shining with recognition. One whispered, "Because of you, I told my dad to stop calling me too emotional." He listened. This was it. This was the point. And then, through the crowd, I saw them, my parents, looking small and lost and utterly out of place. My mother approached, her face pale. "We came to say we're proud of you." I kept my voice even. "You're proud of this, or you're embarrassed by what led to it?" My father cleared his throat. "Now, honey, families have disagreements. This wasn't a disagreement." I cut him off, my voice quiet but sharp as glass. "This was an assault, but please, feel free to look around. Our feedback forms are by the door." They stared, speechless. I gave them no anger, no tears, no drama. I gave them nothing they could use. I just turned back to the people who were there to celebrate, not apologize. As they slipped out the door, I didn't watch them go. I was too busy looking forward. But I did think one last thing, a final, silent message to their retreating backs. "You tried to cut me down to the roots. You should have known I'd grow back stronger. And this time, with thorns." That wasn't the end. It was the beginning of the piece. The studio became a sanctuary, a lighthouse. We launched mentorship programs, hosted workshops on financial independence, and created a grant for young women who had powerful stories to tell. We weren't just a brand, we were a barricade against the forces that tell women to be quiet. Taylor sent a letter once, a rambling, self-pitying mess about the pressure she was under, how she was a victim too. She was sorry I took it the wrong way. I threw it in the shredder. Her remorse was a symptom of her consequences, not a sign of her character. For so long I had performed for their love. I'd made myself smaller, softer, less, hoping that one day they would finally choose me. The great lie I had to unlearn was that their love was something I could earn. It wasn't. Power wasn't in their approval. It was in my own voice. One afternoon, a teenager named Maya, who had been silent through an entire workshop, came up to me. "That thing you said, about your silence costing you too much," she whispered. "That's me. Every day." I didn't offer advice. I just listened to her story. When she was done, there were tears in her eyes, but her chin was high. "I think I'm ready to be loud now," she said. That was the victory. Not the view count, not the magazine covers. That. The healing wasn't in the viral fame. It was in the impact. One voice at a time. 6 months later, my ex-brother-in-law, a man I barely knew, found me online. He sent a short, direct message. He had divorced Taylor. He said he found her opposition research file on me, doctored photos, lists of my insecurities, plans to anonymously sabotage my college applications years ago. It had started long before the wedding. He was sorry he didn't see it sooner. I read it, and I let it go. Her poison was her own. My antidote was my purpose. The keynote speech at the Reverb annual summit felt like the final scene. I stood on a stage in front of thousands, wearing an emerald green power suit, a final nod to the dress I never wore. "They tell you not to make a scene," I began, my voice ringing through the auditorium. "They tell you to be the peacekeeper. They tell you that your comfort is less important than their convenience." For a long time I believed them. The room was wrapped. Then one day I woke up, and they had taken a piece of me. They thought it would diminish me. They thought it would shut me up. What they didn't realize is that when you try to bury a woman like me, you are only planting a seed. The applause started then. A slow clap that grew into a roar. Your voice is not a liability. It is your legacy. Your power is not a threat. It is your birthright. And if they can't handle your light, I smiled, then hand them a pair of sunglasses and keep on shining. The standing ovation was thunder. I walked off that stage not as the girl whose family cut her hair, but as the woman who taught thousands of others how to find their voice. And back home, our studio thrived. It was a testament, built of glass and steel and stories that refused to be silenced. And every morning, When the sun hit the front window, it illuminated the words for the whole world to see. Hear me now. Forever. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever been told you're too much, if you've ever had to fight to be heard, you're not alone. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Untold Script, where we share stories of breaking silence and rewriting the narrative. Let us know in the comments where you're from and what this story made you feel. Hit the notification bell, because every story we share is a reminder that you have a right to take up space. This is more than a channel. It's a chorus. Join us at The Untold Script, and let's get loud together.